Sandra all the time is here, ripping cold hard through. She's the ears and the eyes for me and you. Every day, everyone want to hear from Sandra. And every time on the air, she's getting better. Tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your mama, call Sandra in the morning and in the evening. They always calling Sandra. And when they start fighting, they calling Sandra.
That's right, folks. Everyone is telling their mama about the cold hard truth. Welcome to another episode with more truth-telling, more problem-solving, and of course, more tea spilling than ever before. Sit back, students, grab your tea and turn up the volume because class is now in session. Call in at 936-2626 because your voice matters. Share your opinion on issues that matter the most to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning, K-Man. Happy Friday. How is everyone doing this beautiful Friday morning? It is a glorious day, V-Day. Everybody's good? Good morning, Mr. Oh, no, Shani, you're the first in class. You're absolutely right. Let me acknowledge that. Let me see who else we got here. People kind of slow to wake up this morning. Hey, I know the feeling. Ugh, it kind of feels like we need to do what? You guys know what we're going to do. We're going to get the blood pumping. Here we go. 1, 2, and here it is.
Everybody wake up. Wake up. Everybody wake up. Wake up. Open your eyes. Jump out of bed.
Open your eyes.
Open your eyes. Jump out of bed. If you're on the bottom bunk, don't bump your head.
Wake up. Wake up. Everybody wake up.
Everybody wake up. Wake up. Everybody wake up. Wake up. Find your shoes. Find your sock. Find your shoes. Find your other sock. Don't hit the snooze on your alarm clock.
No snooze button. Time to get up.
Wake up.
Wake
Everybody
up.
wake up. Wake up.
Wake
Everybody
up.
wake up. Wake up.
Wake
Everybody
up.
wake up. Wake up.
Wake up.
Toothbrush. Toothpaste. Now wash your face.
Your face.
Roll out. Sound off. It's time to get up. You gotta get up. It's time to get up this morning.
Take that. Are you guys awake now? Oh my gosh. Hold on. I was going to say, don't let me have to play it a second time. It was on auto loop. Oh my gosh. What a mess. Everybody wake up. I know some days are hard. Even I will admit it. And today kind of feels like one of those days that, you know, I could have stayed in bed. Oh, wow. Well, I felt like I could have just rolled over another time, hit the snooze button again. How many of you hitting that snooze button in the morning? Be honest. I don't have a snooze. The alarm goes off once. But I'll be the first to admit when it goes off, I turn it off on the phone and I roll back over. I am not jumping to be getting up. And today is that, it was hard to get up this morning. I was like, can I not sleep in? I need a vacation. I need to take a couple days off. Post-election, I feel like we all need a break. I need chill. All right. Well, 200 people almost. Yep, numbers are slowly creeping up. I can tell when you guys are asleep in the mornings. I can see those numbers like struggling, like, okay, we're getting to 186 over here. Instagram, they're still all asleep. We're getting there, but let's see who's here. Robert is in the house. Robert woke up nice and early. Look at Jean. She woke up early. Abby, Emma's here for it. Siobhan is an early riser. Lavana's like, girl, I'm already at work. Wee. Jim, good morning, sunshine. Yes. Carol is here for it. Carol's like, girl, I got to get up every morning because somebody has got to pay the bills, right? Miss Yolene is up early. Lucille. Well, for Lucille, she's in the UK. So technically it's afternoon for her almost, I think, right? What time is it over there? So she's not really up early. She's staying up to watch with us. Damaris from New York. Gina, Barbara G, Miss Ann. She says, come Tampa. Good morning, YouTuber. 345 in the house. All right, we got 221 plus Instagram. Yes, Janelle, come on through, y'all. Everybody wake up, wake up. Listen, you parents understand me, right? I'm an old mom, but you know you got to do little things to get kids motivated. And so that's one of the songs when Gigi looks like she doesn't want to get up, honey child. We're like, are we going to have to play the wake up song? Then she's like, she starts laughing. And that is the song we tell Alexa, play the song. And boom, all of a sudden she finds the energy to get up. Yep. K-Man Coco, good morning to you, watching from Canada. Hey, honey child, how you doing? Lucky Body says, yes, it's 1:40 in the UK. Nice afternoon. How's the weather? Lucille says, if you need a break, come and look for me. Oh, girl, the UK is like, that's a 2-week trip. That is not a 2-day trip. Yeah, we do have to do a UK trip soon because we got family. Marlon's got family over there. They're always coming to us because, of course, they're sick of the UK weather and they want to see the tropics. And, you know, we're kind of like, all right, yeah, we'll go to the UK and check it out. See what's going on. Since we got that passport, we'll put it to good use. Robert, Philly in the house. Good morning, Robert. So good to see you. Debbie joining us from Thailand. Good morning to you, darling. Oh, Debbie, she says, good morning, Auntie and Zeus. Now, those of you who have dogs might be able to relate, or very young children, because they're pretty much same kids, you know, dogs got 4 legs and your young kids got 2 legs. But dogs, if you have the smaller breeds, some of them really, really love toys. And I have had, Coco was like that, and Zeus is almost as bad as her. He doesn't quite destroy them with the same degree of ferocity that she did, because you give her a toy in like 10 minutes, the little squeaky thing, because that's what she wanted to get at, that was ripped out. I remember once I gave her, I can't remember what it was, but it had 8 squeaky things on each side. So there was like 16 in total. Oh my God, she had a field day ripping each one of those out. She would have all the stuffing all over the floor within 5 minutes. I mean, she was next level. Like when you traveled and you came with the suitcase, you opened the suitcase, she actually went in your suitcase and picked out her toys because she knew, well, of course, you're not going to Miami without bringing me back a stuffy. So, you know, and she would do that. It was so funny. But so he's not quite as bad as her. Like she's actually been to people's homes before. And I don't know how she's done it. She was a great dog. Like she obviously had a very good sense of smell. And I don't know how she sussed out these toys, but she like ran upstairs, went to the bed, started pulling down their stuffed toys off the bed. I'm like, no, those are not for you. Karen Thompson might remember that because she did that to Karen's house. But anywho, he still loves toys. So, you know, we put them on his little basket. He's got a little toy basket. And he literally will pull 10 toys. One isn't enough. He'll pull this one out, that one out. And he's sitting there squeaking one, but he pulls them all out. So this morning I'm walking down the hallway and it's like, don't trip over these toys, toy after toy after toy. And here in my little office, there's one, there's his little Lambo, which is a little lamb underneath here. There was another one on the floor. So Miss Stacy wanted, she's like, Zeus, what is it with you and all these toys everywhere? It's true. They're literally everywhere. Good morning, Miss Corrine. Good morning to Lily. So of course, when Debbie mentioned Zeus this morning, I'm like, girl, you need to see him in these toys. Jane says I need to play that song for my husband. Yes. Make him wake up. Good morning, Miss Flora. Jackie Bennett is in the house watching from Honduras. Good morning, my darling. Lucky Body says we had a heat wave a few days ago, but now it feels chilly again. Oh. Rod said I might be fat, but I'm paying attention. Chat, please. If you're fat, ooh, I don't know what I would be. Rod is so fit. I see you living your best life. Now, Rod, where are you? Are you in the Philippines, or I know you're in an Asian country, and he is retired and living his most fit life while being retired. Oh my gosh, you look fabulous. Keep up the good work, and continue to enjoy your retirement. That's what life is all about. You don't work until the very end. Well, I probably will because I really love my work, but most people want to get to the point where they don't have to work. They can enjoy vacay. Miss Iva, I need to see you. Good morning, Maria. Watching from Fleming Island, Florida. Speaking of Florida, Maria, where's Fleming Island, by the way? I'm not familiar with Fleming Island. But speaking of Florida, I saw yesterday that the Keys, both bridges in and out of the Keys, were closed because of smoke. Is there some kind of fire? I just kind of scanned the headline. I didn't really read it. But yes, apparently the Florida Keys is cut off at the moment. So I was like, wow, hopefully that's being resolved quickly. But I didn't see what the origin of it was. Rod is in Thailand. Rod is in Thailand. So I don't know what part of Thailand. I'm sure Thailand is a really massive country. But check out Debbie. She's in Thailand too. Maybe the two of you can, Caymanians converge in Thailand, get together. Patricia, good morning. YouTuber says, Sandy, what's going on with the road rage case? Let's not make that die down, please. What's happening? You know what? Thank you for reminding me. Give me one quick second. I have been meaning to follow up with the RCIPS on that. And a lot of times I have to do these things in real time. Otherwise, I completely forget. All right, let me just shoot a quick email to them. RCIPS. And Larry and Linda. So RCIPS, and we're going to send this to Mr. Walton as well. Update request. Yes, good morning. All, can you please provide an update on the road rage case with Larry and Linda? And so please, can somebody remind me, not directly after the show, but a little bit later on, that I need to get that petition going because he has applied for a work permit. Remember, I told you guys that he was here on a work permit, and this would be a work permit that he would get. And the next step is to try to apply for PR. So we got to stop it. And we can send in our concerns to immigration, and hopefully WRC will listen, because that's not the type of person that we need here, even on a work permit. I'm going to be honest with you. So thank you, YouTuber 345, for the follow-up question. Aliano says, good morning to all of my lesbians. Good morning, sir. Good morning. In case you missed it yesterday, some of you were in the comment section like, what? Johan messaged me. He's like, what is this post about? He must have missed that segment of yesterday's show. So let me bring you up to speed in case you missed it. So someone, we were talking about Wayne Panton and something else. The false allegations that Joey made against him. I said, I think Joey should issue a correction and an apology to Mr. Panton, because that was false information. And she said something, Trisha, I don't know if she's here yet, but she said something about, yes, it's like people going around saying that you're a lesbian. And I was like, okay. It is laughable. I mean, maybe a lot of lesbians wish I was. I mean, I don't know where that rumor would have come from. Because I'll be honest, I have had lesbians approach me, and they're like, oh, I'm like, no, honey chill. And part of it, I'll be honest with you, the LGBTQ community, especially in Cayman, they are so shocked that people support them, like will hang out with them who are not part of the community. And so I think, because I would go out happy hour with them, I had a lot of friends who were in the community, and they're, to me, that's not what I'm thinking about when I'm hanging out with them. You know what I mean? They're just my friend, and they just happen to be gay, lesbian, bisexual, whatever. I don't care. And so, I hang out with people all the time, and I'm not sitting there asking, well, what's your sexual preference? That's not normally part of the conversation, especially if I'm not interested in them. I frankly don't care. And so, I have had them kind of be like, are you sure? And I'm like, yes, I'm comfortable in my own skin. And I'm as sure as the day is beautiful today. But I think it stems from, you can hang out so freely with us and don't feel a way about it. Most straight people, if they hang out with a group of gay people, like everybody else in the group is gay, they feel like, oh my God, they're the odd one out. I don't care. I'm like, whatever. So yeah, I did have a gay guy ask me once, are you sure, Sandy, you're not a lesbian? I said, why do you think that? Well, you're always hanging out with us. And I said, so? And I said, don't you want everybody to hang out with you, even if it's like your core group of, gay guys or whatever? Does it really matter? I said, this is the support that you want, but then when people support you, you start to question them. And he's like, yeah, that's true. It is what it is. But anyway, she, okay, somebody just sent me a video. They said, play that video for them. So yeah, Trisha said, apparently there's it's not coming through as a video though. It's coming through as a image. Which video? So hold on, let me double check which video I'm supposed to play. So anyway, this one, I'm sorry. Okay, hold on. All right, hold on. I hadn't even watched it, so I'm assuming it's a clean video. It better be. Hold on one second. Hold on. I haven't watched it yet. So yeah, so when she said that, I had to laugh. And of course, we had to post something about that. So those of you who saw the post, that's what it was all about. I'm like, listen, what did the post say? Hold on one second. Let me grab it. Sometimes you just have to laugh at people, and that's just the best way to. I don't know what else to say. Hold on. So the post said, let me see here. Oh my gosh. It says, I'm not cleaning up a single rumor about me. I don't care what you heard. Go hear it again. And then it said the comment from Trisha this morning that Sandy's a lesbian. Be proud of who you are and what you are, and no one is feeding you. So don't let them live rent free in your head, which is so true. Seriously. Okay, let me play this video. Hold on. Share this with the article where you even got the guys saying that they're lesbians too. All right, hold on. We're going to play it. Let me see what this video is. All right, so let me double check where it's going to download first. We're going to change the location. Download. Yeah, so I posted that, and all of you men are so funny. Well, I'm a lesbian too. I'm a lesbian. No, I'm a lesbian. I was like, what the hell? And then some of my gay friends, they had a good chuckle. One of them said, if you're a lesbian, then I'm the straightest man in the world. Ain't that obvious? And no, that's not obvious. All right, let's see what this video is. Hold on. Let's cue video. All right, here we go.
Awesome.
Oh, what's this? All right, Xavier Academy.
Word families. I know you love that.
Kids in school,
so
yes.
Start with words that end in
Little
AN.
kids.
You yell out a word, I'll write it down. Let's see how many we can get. Go!
Fan.
Fan, there's a good one.
Man.
That's another one.
Lesbian.
Words that end in AN. Anyone, words ending in AN.
Lesbian.
I heard pan. Good.
No, Faith said lesbian.
All right, no big deal. Faith said lesbian. Hold on. Good, we'll write that down. Just a word. Not a big deal, but we'll move on. We'll get some other ones.
What is a lesbian, sir?
Oh, geez, I'm peace.
All right. You liked another girl? That could be.
I like Olivia. Am I a lesbian?
Well, if you like Olivia, you could be, sure.
I like Olivia. I love
Lord.
Olivia. I like Olivia too. Am I a lesbian?
No, it doesn't work that way, Philip. You can never be a lesbian.
No fair. I want to be a lesbian. Me too.
You can all be lesbians.
Oh my God.
Let's just move on. Let's try words that end in ON.
Prostitution.
What did you say?
Prostitution. What is prostitution?
Lord have mercy.
Let's say prostitution is when you work in the street and you get paid.
I want to do prostitution.
No. All right. Moving on to words that end in RE, but let me just have a second here to think if nothing, there can't be. So shout out words that end in RE.
Crack whore.
Oh my God. What is that? That's a show called Mr. D. I've never even heard of it before, but that is too funny. Oh my gosh. Everybody's like, I want to be a lesbian. No, I like her. I'm a lesbian. Oh, that is just too funny. Anyway, good morning, Miss Beverly. Satish, good morning. Siobhan Barry says, Lord, Larry doesn't need no PR with his disgusting behavior. Cha, he don't even need a work permit. Lance says there's a lot more Larrys here than you think. Oh, we know, but you know, some of them be hiding. So until they show themselves, we don't know. Maria, 45 minutes from Jacksonville International Airport. Oh, okay. Nice. Joseph, how you doing? West Bay West in the house. John, how you doing, honey child? By the way, John, I love. He presented Miss Julie in West Bay West with a star made out of recycled license plates. And then he did a custom one that says West Bay West on it. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Miss Beulah, good morning. We have Delcy and hubby joining us from Miramar, Florida. Let me see, Melita. Hey, Abby, Miss Ina. Abby says the minor should not have been arrested for defending himself against Larry's approach. Yes. And all now we can't hear that Larry has been arrested, which I think is beyond disgusting, quite frankly. Jean says, yes, Lance, we know their behavior just isn't caught on camera and spread across social media, unfortunately. But a lot of you guys have to work with people like that. Oh my God. Jeez. Miss Speak Your Mind said, kids, I don't know how people mistreat kids. They are the best. They are so funny. And let me tell you something. That child has quite a vocabulary. Like, she wasn't picking one syllable words. She was like lesbian, prostitution. And it's like, where is she getting all these words from? Oh my God. Richard said, OMG, I needed a good laugh this morning. Lesbian is the word of the day. Yes, let's normalize the word of the day. Lesbian. Oh my goodness. It reminds me of a show that I did. I was trying to remember what the word was. But when I first had my first show, which is called Straight Talk back in the day, there was some word, I can't remember now, but there's some controversy about a word. And I'm thinking, oh, you guys are a little bit too uptight sometimes, you know? And so I decided to do a show. I'm trying to remember what the word was now. I decided to do a show where I used the word like every single sentence kind of thing. It was hilarious, except now I can't remember what the word was. Oh Lord, I can't remember. This is a long time ago, back in 2009 or something. But anyway, it was hilarious. And I said, y'all need to get over yourselves. Sometimes y'all a little bit too, release the clutches on the pearls a little bit. Jason says Larry needs an exit plan. First kaboom of the day, most certainly. Kids say the weirdest things. I wish we could do a show like that for CMR TV. That would be so funny. But you see, they're not always funny. And then the thing is, sometimes they're funny. And it's like I have the most interesting conversations with my daughter when we're driving, when I pick her up from school. She asks me all sorts of questions. I'm like, man, I need a recorder. And start recording her. Sometimes I send dad the voice notes because he's like, oh my God. She asks really good questions though. Like, she's very, very concerned about the environment. So she's always like, why do people just throw stuff on the ground and mess up the environment? Mom, this is not good. We are supposed to love the earth. And oh my gosh, she's so into the environment, like everything. But the environment she absolutely loves, which is good. You know, we need to teach the next generation. So she's always wanting to keep boxes. No, we have to reuse this. And I'm like, what am I going to reuse this box? Like, what? I'm thinking of the clutter factor around the house. And she's like, no, this box, I can use this as my pretend car. And I'm like, no, I don't want any more clutter in the living room, please. Oh my goodness, she's so funny. Did I tell you guys the adoption story? We're going to have a relaxing Friday because we're going to talk about some stuff, but relax. It's Friday. Take it easy. Let me tell you about the adoption story. So she's like, Mom, I really, really want a little sister. And I'm like, Zeus? He's a dog. And I said, so? So she goes on about how she wants a little brother, little sister. Well, that's not happening, right? So I said to her, sometimes I do think about adopting maybe a little baby or something. Because there's a lot of kids in the world who need a good home. Oh, yes, Mom. Can we go and get it tomorrow? Can we go? I was like, that's not quite how an adoption works. Dana joining us from Michigan. Good morning. She was all about the adoption life. She's like, right now, let's go pick up the baby. I was like, oh no, what did I do? Richard from Round Rock, Texas in the house. Lucky Body. Oh my God. Any updates on what happened to Judy Ann Miles? It's so weird how the RCIPS is so silent regarding this. Well, no updates. And it's so funny you should ask the question because I think it was just last night or the night before, my good friend was saying the same thing. He's like, shouldn't we be hearing something? And I was like, I don't know what to say. The thing is, they don't give updates like other jurisdictions. And I must admit that I'm used to the American way of dealing with crime and communications, right? They would have had multiple press conferences. We're advancing several lines of inquiry, like something, a big case like this. I mean, this case is massive in terms of what happened to this poor lady. Just a press release? No press conference? No. That's how they are. So Lucky Body, I don't know what to tell you. But that's how they operate, Cheryl. It's weird to me. And I don't know. The guy who was arrested for something else, is he still in police custody? I mean, it's just so weird. I have no idea. I don't know. It's so sad. E. Williams says, love conquers all. If you want the truth, ask a child. Kids are truthful. Oh, yes, they are. Girl, you need somebody to tell you about your outfit? Ask your children. They'll tell you. Oh no, Mom, that makes you look fat. Are you pregnant? This is what Cheryl says. Are you pregnant? Why is your belly so big? I was like, oh my God, really? But then when you lose a few pounds, they'll be the first ones to tell you too, Mom, I think you've lost a few pounds. Your belly's not so big today. But you see, they learn to put on a filter because of us adults. Because, child, we be looking at them like, what did you just say? I'm fat? And they're like, yes, is that a bad thing? Well, you can't just walk around telling people that they're fat. Oh, really? So we teach them how to put on some degree of filters, right? But yes, fit Jamaican girl. Gigi be like, are you having a baby, Mom? Why is your belly so big? Let me touch it. Really? Really, child? Leave me alone. Oh my goodness. They're so hilarious. Good morning, Pat. How are you? Let me see what else is going on. This person says, let's get it. I got off of work this morning at 3 a.m. Oh my gosh. No, you did not. Wow. I would still be sleeping. Good morning. Happy day for you. Complete vindication. Soon be here. Congrats. Hey, I'm excited. So let's talk about what's happening today for me. It's a big day in court. All the media are going to be there, of course. Let me see here now. So yes, most definitely. Today is my Court of Appeal hearing. Some media actually called me last night. And they wanted to know kind of what the run of the day was going to be. And I don't know myself. My lawyers just tell me to show up. So I'm like, well, I'm coming there. I have to be there on time, obviously. Yes, yes, yes. Somebody else says, isn't today the day that your court is? This is it. Okay, put this in context. I submitted, good morning, lesbian. Good morning, strong will. He says, good morning, lesbian. Good morning, lesbian. How you doing, lesbian? So yes, I submitted my appeal back in 2021. This is now 2025. The case was in 2020. I think, was it 2020? Yeah, when we went into lockdown with COVID. The video was 2019. So this has been like a long multi-year process, right? So we went through all sorts of stuff, and here we are now. V-Day was yesterday, like for the rest of the world. Let's acknowledge all of our veterans, by the way, World War II and all wars. And then today is going to be V-Day for CMR. So yes, I'm going to court. And I'm so curious to see what the court is going to say. Of course, we'll cover it in the news segment as well. But this is a big day in the sense that the court has said, the Court of Appeal said the last time that they're going to lay down the law. When they say something like that, that means that this is going to be a precedent-setting case. And in fact, this is going to be the second precedent-setting case with me, because once I appealed, you go look in the law books. My name is in the law books already. So there was one with a search warrant being unlawfully issued on me. But you know, these agents, they keep coming at me. Somebody said yesterday, this thing with the ombudsman's office now, another member of the media said, Sandy, they keep finding the most creative ways to try and come at you. And this person's like, oh, this is bollocks. This is bollocks. I can't believe that they're trying this whole ombudsman thing. And I said, you know, one trial and tribulation at a time. Quite frankly, you know, we still have the John Felder case where they claimed that I was trying to bribe him. I mean, it's like at the end of it, I'm going to have every possible charge: dog theft, fraudulent document. It's like they're all over the place. Now, I have a theory. It's either that I am Cayman's most prolific criminal mastermind, and apparently I get away with all of it, or someone has an axe to grind with me and they just creatively try every little hole that they possibly can find. Which do you think is the logical explanation here? Nobody is that brilliant in terms of being, well, Chris Saunders claims that he is because he could get away with harming people, but nobody is that brilliant. At some point, you know, if you're stealing dogs, if you're falsifying documents, and the thing is, right, I get that some people, say you're a drug kingpin or something, right? You might get away with that for a time, but eventually, as I say, time longer than rope, you're going to get caught, right? For me, not only would I be the island's, you know, biggest criminal mastermind, but apparently I commit all sorts of crimes. I don't have a specialty. So it's not like I'm a drug lord. I've just not yet gotten caught. Everybody's like, we know she's smuggling stuff in those panties when she goes away. You know, you can see where one or two times somebody might get away with it, but it's the same type of criminal activity. With me, I'm all over the map, apparently. I mean, I've never quite seen anything like it. Fit Jamaican Mama says when mom was going on a date in a jumpsuit, she said, Sandy, how do I look? And I said, Mom, you look like a stuffed turkey. No, you did not. You did not tell your mom. That's horrible. Oh my gosh. King joining us from the UK says CMR Lesbian Visibility Week. I don't recognize it. Mirstar, good morning, lesbian. Gabby, good morning, lesbian. Gabby says, I hope you win. Well, in a way, I've already won. KK says, appeal for what? Okay, let me fill you guys in. Back in 2019, I did a podcast about Matthew Leslie. Now, you guys know our pop-off segments, 9:30. This was the first of its kind. See? Oh, Auntie Sandy was a pioneer back in the day. And so I want to say that this was September, November, sometime late sometime late 2019. Yeah. So anywho, hold on. I can bring up a document here because I can't even remember now. It's been so long. So he went to the police and complained about me. And apparently, let me just get the facts. Okay. So, right, 2 indictments. Right. So they said between February 2019 and May 2019, within the jurisdiction of the Cayman Islands, she did knowingly use an ICT network or ICT service to abuse, annoy, threaten, or harass Matthew Leslie. But it all was around this podcast that I did. And you know what the interesting thing is? The idea from the podcast came from the R. Kelly expose. What was the R. Kelly expose called again? It was, hold on. It was called Surviving R. Kelly. So that was a big thing then. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but I watched it. And I thought, a lot of people have survived Matthew Leslie. And so I wanted to do a show encompassing not just the sexual behavior towards underage girls and teenagers, but all elements of his behavior, business affairs, the fraudulent marriage that he went into, ordering a prostitute when he was in the hospital after having gastric surgery. There was a whole slew of things. I did maybe an hour-long podcast, right? But you see, back in 2019, Cayman wasn't ready for the cold, hard truth. It didn't technically exist then, but apparently you guys were not ready for a 9:30 segment. It's so weird how times have changed. Now, 9:30, y'all like, oh yes, let's blaze up this place with the truth. Then you guys were not ready. So we had a huge audience, I must say, for one of the first podcasts that we did, we had like over 1,300 people watching. It was massive because there's a lot of victims out there of this man, and you guys know who you are. And I'm not ever about disclosing who victims are, but I have message after message after message about the things that this man has done. People who were desperate, like, I didn't have anybody in my life. My boyfriend was deceased or in jail, and I'm a single mother, and I needed stuff for my baby. And he saw my vulnerability and he took advantage of it. It's horrible what women have said this man, offering them money to show their parts to him. Going after little girls like, oh, you must be 18 by now. And the kid's like, no, I'm going to be 17 next year or whatever at my next birthday. And he's still pushing them like, oh, I'm harmless. I just want to cuddle you. Like he does it. Part of his persona of deception is, oh, I'm just a big, fat, cuddly guy. So I just want to hug and cuddle you. I'm harmless. It's creepy. It's disgusting. And now it would actually fall under grooming because that's exactly what he was doing to these people. He was grooming them for more. Anyway, I don't even want to really think about him this morning, but he ran to the police. He couldn't come at me with a civil case. So what he did, because everything I said was true, I was backing it up with screenshots, evidence, voice notes, the whole 9 yards. So what he did was he went to the police and said, oh, she is harassing me with this. So, the police are ready. They got a hard on for me, like all lesbians. Yeah. So they came and they tried to stop me from doing the podcast. And I said, no, I'm not going to not do the podcast. Well, he could potentially sue you. And I said, okay, well, what I'm saying is true. So you can't sue somebody for the truth. I mean, it's not defamation if it's the truth. That's an absolute defense. Anyway, they went away. And then after I did the podcast, he pressured them because that's what people do with the police. And the police, a lot of times, not really cognizant of how the law works. They prepare his file. They send it to the DPP's office. Everybody knows the DPP has a hard on for me. And they're like, yes, let's charge her. So they bring their best prosecutor at the time, Diane Oku, or whatever the heck her name is. And she prosecutes me with a degree of zealous that, I was just like, whoa, woman, back off of me. She actually, I'll tell you something she did that I was really surprised at, and I've never seen a prosecutor do this. During one of the early hearings, she actually came out of court and said to me like, oh, you better watch your back or something. I was like, I said, you can't talk to me like that. Who the hell do you think you are? Well, y'all know I had to curse her out and tell her, listen, this is my country. You better back the frig off of me. Just as she came out of court, she's addressing me because she didn't get what she wanted in court on that day, right? Because the judge didn't agree with her, something she had done. And my lawyer's like, oh, you can't talk to her like that. I said, hold on. That's when I should have fired I should have fired him right then and there. I said, hold on. This prosecutor comes out of court and is being rude to me and talking to me any kind of way, and she thinks that I'm not going to respond? what exactly are y'all doing up in this courthouse? I told her, not today, TD. I am not the one. I will respond to you in kind. Okay, you disrespect me, even up in these courts, and I'm going to tell you about your backside. I said, not today, Bobo. I'll boot kick you back to Saskatchewan. Anywho, she had a real, oh my God. Oh, her performance was unbelievable. And at one point I said, it's people like her that need to be in a room with Matthew Leslie for a good hour at the age of 15 and then come talk to me about ICTA Section 90. So she went and complained to the judge that I had said that about her. He was like, really? She was so petty. Petty as the day is long. Anywho, they got a conviction. Couple things happened. My lawyer was horrible. I'm not going to defend him. I fired him immediately after the case, did the sentencing hearing myself, because I'm like, I could have done a better job. But the judge also, I thought, really went overboard with certain things. Now listen to this. So they found me guilty. He claims that, yes, a lot of what you said was believable, but like there's one thing I thought you were lying about. I was like, dude, really? I'm as transparent as you possibly can be. But anyway, so for sentencing, he fined me $3,000. By then he had started to soften up. Like I could see a different judge because I think he understood more contextually what was going on, because I had over 60 reference letters, by the way, for my sentencing hearing. And in those were some people who had been victims of him. So now they could say, I was a victim. Sandy was the only person who was willing to, vocalize what this man was doing in the community. Everybody else is cowtailing to Matthew Leslie like he's some big shot, because he goes around pretending like he's politically connected and he's a big shot in business when he's nothing but a fraudster. Right? And so they're like, no, she spoke up for me. I'm a rape victim. I'm a survivor. And she's one of the few people in this community who gives us a voice. So I think he read those and he's like, wow, because he said, I've never seen a case with so many reference letters. Obviously, you're not a horrible person. You're not, whatever. And he's like, you're an asset to your community, but, or you can't tell the truth on somebody, because then that's an offense. I'm like, okay. Then he also said that I couldn't write anymore about Matthew, ever. Listen to this sentence, right? So I'm thinking to myself, hold on a second. Matthew has been in Belize since then. If he commits a murder in Belize, every other media house in the world can write about that incident but me. How does that even make any sense? That's crazy. That is low key, not even low key, high key, crazy. And I couldn't talk about him even like in a WhatsApp group chat. I was like, I got to appeal this case. So I launched the appeal. All these years later, here we are. Today is Victory Day. Okay. So I'm going to put on my nice little outfit. And the show is going to end a little bit early. I got a nice video for you guys, though. You're going to love it. I'm going to put on a nice little outfit and go. And I got my hair blow dried yesterday. So we're looking a little bit polished. Yes. And we're going to go and see what the Court of Appeal has to say. So KK, that's a short version of it. And so when I'm vindicated, yes, I will play that segment as a 9:30 segment for all of you to hear what eventually got me convicted all these years. And the truth can never be hidden. I think that is the ultimate takeaway. E. Williams, good morning, honey. She says it's because you are standing up for honest Caymanians and others who need help too, especially getting exposed for those who deserve it. Yes, but we live in a country where, unfortunately, a lot of this stuff is hidden and the perpetrators are the ones who are protected, which makes me sick to my stomach. Really and truly. Oh, yes, Siobhan, she definitely has some balls. Trisha is here, says, glad you remembered me. Tibet San. Hey, I just told you what I heard. Yes, I will accept the titles. Today's International Lesbian Day in the Cayman Islands. Thank you so much, Trisha. It's fine. I'm really not insulted. In fact, we are here to support all of our lesbian sisters this morning. And so in alliance with them, what did you call it, King? I like how King put it. Lesbian Visibility Week. There we go. Fit K-Man Girl says the bro was trying to look me on Instagram about send videos. I was like, you really think I'm going to train this hard and eat rabbit food, then turn around and date a big fatty perv? Fit it, Jamaican girl? You are just too much. That made me laugh. She's obviously into fitness. Child, she is fit as a fiddle. Donna says that's what you had to tell her. A kaboom to you. Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, they were trying a thing, and I'm like, listen, you do not disrespect me. I don't care if it's in a courthouse or not. And think that this is still my country, and the courthouse is MK Man. So watch yourself. Good morning, sir. Oh, hold on. I can't hear you. Let me unplug my little phone and plug it back in. Hello? No, I still can't hear you. Oh, Lordy. Let me restart it and I'll call you right back. Sometimes I notice I've got to restart the phone. All right, hold on. Let me do a quick little restart. At least it's not the Samsung phone, which takes me 50 minutes to restart. iPhone is nice and easy. All right, good morning, Johan. I don't know how female lawyers can support men like that. It's disgusting. Well, she was a prosecutor. She was sent to do a job. And the job was, after all these years, we've been bringing all these cases against, Sandra. We finally need a conviction. So in some way, she did something that since 2009, they had been trying to do. Starting with the dog theft case, they were trying to convict me for that. I've never seen the level of ridiculousness. So going into today, let me explain to you what has happened, right? At the last hearing, the judge, the 3-panel judge, because the appeal is a 3-panel judge, Court of Appeal, they basically said that we agree with you. We actually think the judge got it wrong, which is I was like, what? You think the judge got it wrong? You agree with some of my legal arguments? Like, this is massive, right? And the other thing is, of course, they said, we need to give you legal aid. Go get a KC, get a proper lawyer. Amelia is my local lawyer. And then she sourced a KC for me. Brilliant man. I met him on Tuesday. Amelia's also brilliant. And so when they sent the submissions, I think a week ago or a week and a half ago, because we have to submit, lawyers exchange paperwork, like this is going to be our legal arguments and whatever. When our team submitted our legal arguments, the DPP came back and waved where's the white flag? They waved the white flag and said, we give up. We concede that we don't have a case. But, because this is what lawyers do, they concede, but there's always a but in there. So there's some technical and legal stuff. They're like, yes, we agree that the conviction should be thrown out, but they don't want to, something about due process, because you see, they don't want to admit that they got it wrong when it comes to due process, because that means then that Auntie would be able to sue them, and we're going to have a ka-ching moment if I sue the Cayman Islands government, aka the DPP's office, because it's time now to pay me my millions of dollars for you all continually harassing me. You see how that works? Now, what I can tell you is the lawsuit is coming one of these days. Hold on. Oh, I still can't hear. Hold on. Because, they keep harassing me, and I'm not going to continually take it. I think I need another cable for this, I need to use a road cable. So anywho, let me see if it's going to, oh, there we go. So they continually harass me, and one of these days, the Cayman Islands government is going to have to pay me some money. And they're not going to be too little pittance, because y'all have ruined my reputation in this community. And so when I come, I'm looking for a good couple $1 million payout. I got to pay off my mortgage and then some. Okay, honey child. Good morning, Mr. Dexter.
Good morning, my favorite lesbian.
Hello, honey child. I'm looking my lesbian best today. Let me swirl my hair around.
And if that is all you're looking for, a couple of $1 million.
I know, right? Should be more, not true.
You should be ashamed of yourself to ask for that many.
I know. I wouldn't want to be greedy, because that's coming out the public purse.
Anyway, when God promised men that there would be a good, obedient wife, be found in all corners of the world. And guess what? Around world. A teacher asked the class, what is the difference between complete and finished? And little Johnny held up his hand
Mm-hmm.
If you married to the right woman, you are complete. If you married to the wrong woman, you are finished. And when the right woman catches you with the wrong woman, you are completely finished.
That's a good one. I like it. I like it. All
Anyway,
right.
Sunday,
Yes,
all the best.
thank you.
And Mother's Day is upon us,
Oh,
and
yes.
this
Happy Mother's Day this weekend. Mm-hmm.
Happy Mother's Day to me.
Mm-hmm.
You call me a lesbian too. Anyway, there's a poem that I learned when I was probably very young of age called Mother. M is for mother. O means you're growing old. T is the tears she shed to save me. H is for her heart, as pure as gold. E is for her eyes, like a light shining. Put those together, the spell mother, it means everything to me.
Aw. Thank you, Mr. Dexter. We appreciate
Okay.
that.
And all the mothers out there, have a safe and beautiful Mother's Day.
Okay, thank you so much. Love that. Love that so much. Thank you. Beautiful. Yeah, I think I need a new cable there, Gabby. You're right. Okay. Yeah, Jean says, yep, they'll never concede. With due process. And that's right, because then, they're gonna be on the money. Johan says Auntie Sandy is guilty and bad mind, and she burnt the last 3 batches of them things that she bakes. The brownies, they were not burnt. Stop lying on people. That's why you going for seconds and thirds, huh? Mm-hmm. All right. Lesbian best love it. That's right. Corny jokes again, says Black Pearl. That's okay. We love Mr. Dexter and his corny jokes, but he's limited to 1 corny joke per day. So you notice how he follows the rules? He did his corny joke, which was kind of funny, actually. So he did his joke, and then he did a poem. Yeah, see, Melissa said, oh, that had me crying. That was a beautiful poem. Thank you, Mr. Dexter. We love you. That is so sweet. Yes, a lot of people appreciate it. It's a beautiful poem from Mr. Dexter. Oh my God. Oh my God, you did not just, I can't this morning. Somebody just sent me the picture of Matthew when he was in the hospital messaging the woman. I'm not going to show that. We're not going to go there today. We'll eventually go there. Trailer and a wave runner fell off of a truck on Linford Pearson Highway in front of Pro Plus going to town, causing a little bit of a backup, but nothing too bad. So there's your traffic alert, brought to you by Popeyes. Listen, y'all need to make sure you secure your load properly. All right. Honey chow. Another person said there's a jet ski in the road on LPH causing some traffic. Oh, thank you. Yes. All right. Be careful. Hopefully it might be moved out of the way by now. Oh, let me look. Sorry, I'm chewing in a lozenge because my throat was feeling a little bit tingly. All right, let me see here now. Someone is sending me a voice note. I don't know what that voice note is about, but it's hard for me to listen to voice notes during a live show. Johan trying to get a re-up on them, right? That's all it is, YouTuber. He wants me to make him another batch. But I did not burn no brownies because I don't like them too done. I like them kind of like fudgy, like on the softer side. Some people like crispy brownies. I'm not really a crispy brownie kind of person myself. But most of the time, I'm not the one eating the brownies because people like Johan are eating the brownies. Oh, Melissa, I'm so sorry for your loss. You know, it's hard. Yes, it's hard to lose any loved one, but especially a mother. I'm sure of that. Is this your first year without your mom? Oh, so sorry to hear that. All right, let's move on. We're going to do a hazard management interview here this morning. So big shout out to Madam Daniela, is it? Danny Tatum. Danny Tatum. Danny, what is her last name again? Oh Lord, I can't remember. But you guys know what I'm talking about. She's really lovely. Trickett Coleman, but she's a Trickett. She married to Kim Mandian, you know. Danielle Trickett. So big shout out to her. She invited me over to see them. Well, this was back in March, the end of March. But it was just so busy. The election just consumed me, as you guys saw. I just couldn't squeeze it all in. So we have her video ready this morning. Court of Appeal, they only come several times for the year. So hold on, let me look at the schedule actually. And so they hear, do you know that most of the cases that the Court of Appeal hears, they actually deny? I was trying to find out what percentage they agree with. And I'm not so sure the court keeps that information readily available. But statistically, you sit there and you can just see it. Nope. Appeal failed. So most people lose their appeals. Let me see if the court office has sent out anything. Let me see. Because they do send out, let me see. They do send out the list. So I think they meet in the Scotia building. I don't know exactly, so that's where it'll be. And it's open to the public. So of course, if you guys are interested, you can certainly come. Let me just have a look at the cause list, Court of Appeal. So I think they come maybe 3 times for the year. So this is their spring session. So let's see what's on the list for spring. And they have a summer session, spring, and winter. And I think that's it for the year. So they do 3 sittings a year. They did have a special sitting in November of 2024. I can't remember what that one was. I don't know if that was the UK case, I think, where the guys in the UK were saying that they were, remember the guys that we shipped off there, those criminals that they should have been shipped off to the UK and they want to come back to Cayman? I think that might have been them, but don't hold me to it because I definitely not certain. But they had a special sitting last year. So this is the Court of Appeal. And these are oh wait, it's 4 judges? I thought it was 3. Well, last time they were here, I saw 3. But this actually has 4. So it's the Right Honorable Sir John Goldring. He's the president of the Court of Appeal. And then we have the Right Honorable Sir Richard Field, the Right Honorable Sir Michael Burt, and the Right Honorable Sir Jack Beatson. Last time I was there was a lady there, so maybe they changed them around. But this is 4 Right Honorables, Justice of Appeal, and then he's the president. So they're here from April the 28th to the 16th of May. And yes, Court 9. All matters will be heard in Court 9. There you go. So on the list today, this is the whole list from the 28th. So they have election day. So yeah, they have their full schedule. Here's one with Island Pools. Oh, what was this about? And Sterling Security Solutions. Wow. It's not often that you see civil cases making it to the Court of Appeals. So I wonder what that one was about. May 2nd. That might have been interesting, but most people are interested in the criminal stuff, I'll be honest with you. Oh, here's one with somebody suing Walkers. They're appealing a decision there. Wow. That would have been a big financial services case. So today, oh, there it is. Today is Lovell Marriott. What? Lovell is up today as well? No way. OMG. It is my lucky day. I got to send this to the CMR writer. She better start preparing. How did she get all the way to the Court of Appeal? Hey. Oh, this is going to be good. Oh, man, I'm definitely there early. So Lovell is there. Lovell Fate Marriott. Oh, my God. Appellate in person. She is doing her case on her own. Scott Wainwright of the DPP. Oh, he's going to clean up the floor with her. Oh, my God. Shane Edward Connor. So this is the East End guy. What is he in jail for again? Was it murder this time? I can't remember. So he's up as well. And then there I am. Sandra Teresa Hill. And that's all for today. So there's only 3 matters that they'll hear today. Whoa. Oh my gosh. That is so crazy. Well, there you go, honey child. Interesting. I did not know. I didn't even know that she had an appeal that had gotten this far in the process. What? Yes, sir. Mess with her. Oh, King, I love your new artist social. I just saw it come up on Instagram. Factory International presents. Mess with you. He's going to be performing at the Artist Social next week, May the 13th from 6 p.m. at the Factory International Aviva Studios, curated and hosted by the fabulous Courtney Hales. Good for you. You're living your best life in the UK. I can see that. I love that for you. Remember, King, when you were trying to leave, I was like, don't leave, K-Man. Look, I feel like if you can't make it in your own country, something wrong. But you know what? Looking back on it, it was the best decision for you. You have blossomed since you've been there. You've been doing amazing. So I absolutely love it. Good for you. Anyway, so that's what my day is going to look like. Abby says, well, scratch Laval off of my 2025 bingo card. Oh my God. Aisle 2025 says you need to look at the appeal list more often. Yeah. I must admit that I haven't really been doing a whole lot of court stuff lately because I've just been busy. But I need to get back. Yeah. Alita says, good morning, Sandy and CMR fam. Sandy, thank you so much for having a voice for all of us. You're the face for the faceless and the voice for the voiceless. Thank you so much and keep up the good work. Aw, Miss Alita, thank you for that. You just warmed my little heart. My heart just grew a couple inches. Thank you. I really sincerely appreciate that. You know, sometimes you feel like it's a thankless job, what I do, and I just kind of keep moving forward, but I know that so many people have been helped and assisted by this platform. They've been helped and assisted by myself. And so I am most grateful. I'm just happy that I can do it. I'm happy that I'm crazy because I'll be honest with you, I'm able to do what I do because I got a little bit of West Bay, Georgetown, Cayman crazy mix-up thing going on. So, yeah. And I seem to have a knack for punishment and that, I'm like, nope, that's not going to affect me. They arrested me, put me in handcuffs, detained me, all this kind of stuff. And I'm still like, get over it. Let's just keep going. Let's just keep going. And I think it takes an element of crazy. Come, Miss Stacy. It takes an element of crazy to be able to do that for real. Good morning, ma'am. What is this? A cheese sandwich? Yeah. We don't have the eggs, so I got to make do with cheese this morning. Time to grocery shop. Miss Stacy's like, oh, you have no eggs left, girl. I was like, oh, I'm feeling for an egg and cheese sandwich. Nope. So bless her little heart. She brought me a cheese sandwich. No eggs. Grocery shopping time. All right. Let me see. Debbie says, Sandy, not wrong about Thailand being massive. There are over 1,400 islands alone. Not sure where Rod is, but he can message me on Facebook. Thank you so much. Somebody else just sent some prayers through for today. I appreciate that always, always, always. Judy, I'm not, well, it starts at 10 o'clock, but I don't know because it looks like my lawyer will actually be doing still a degree of a full presentation. So I'm not sure how long that will actually take, to be honest. Sophia says, Sandy, you've been doing a great job. It helps a lot of people. Thank you. Amy says, few people are both crazy and educated. It takes both to make impactful change. Well, thank you. Jim says, eggs, we have them. Jim, bring me some eggs. You know, I keep sending Miss Stacy your list, and I keep saying, let's support local farmers, order from them. Oh, you've got beautiful callaloo? Bring me some eggs and callaloo. What else you got? Bring some fresh stuff. We could definitely use it. Let me see. Somebody said, is Amelia also her lawyer? No, she's representing herself, actually, which is interesting. All right. Let me just have a quick look-see here. By the way, did Leon get back to you? Oh, yes. He tried to call me yesterday, but he called me at 11. Let me call him back. I was actually busy. So thank you for reminding me. Leon Connolly, that is. He did call yesterday. Let's call him back. I forgot. Thank you. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay, no answer. All right. No answer from Leon, but he was the guy yesterday that the worker were saying he hadn't paid me. We posted him up on Facebook saying, Leon, reach out. The funny thing is, there were other people in the comment section who saying, oh, he owes me money too, or he didn't pay me either. He seems to have a bit of a dishonest streak about him. And I tell you what, that is not a good trait. That is no bueno. No bueno. Not good. So, you know, you can't be in business and be dishonest, because eventually it's going to catch up with you. And not everybody takes kindly to having money withheld from them. When people work hard for the little pittance that they're getting here in Cayman, just pay the people them their money. That's not nice. I don't like that at all. I can't support anyone who abuses workers and takes advantage of people like that. So Leon, step up and let us see what it is you're going on with in terms of shenanigans, because I'm not impressed at all. Shameful. Very, very shameful. I don't know who your mom and papa is from East End, but I am sure that they raised you better than this. So come now. Step up to the plate, honey child, and find the money to pay that woman. Yeah, she needs her money. She's all the way in Jamaica, but she needs her 2,000. You know how much money that is in Jamaican dollars? Well, actually, I don't know, but I know it's a lot. That's a lot of money even here, over $2,000. That goes a long way. So I'm sure she could definitely use it. So please, and thank you to get the woman her money back. Now, workers, let me tell you something. You guys need to start. You guys need to start doing a better job of vetting some of these people that you work for. I know out of desperation, you think any job is better than no job, but that's not necessarily the case. And so, you know, the lady said she saw him on EK Trade. And from the second he made you or asked you to pay for your permit, honey child, that is when you should have said no, thank you, and find another honest employer. All right, Jim, CE Banks wants to know if you have any mangoes. What kind of mangoes you're looking for? I bought one the other day. I'm trying to remember the name of it from the farmer's market. It is like this big. It's some kind of Indian mango, but I can't remember what the woman said it was. She told me, but now I can't remember. But you guys know I prefer just my local common mangoes. And we have an East Indian tree. We actually have 3 mango trees, but 2 really aren't bearing yet. And the big one is East Indian mango tree. And I don't eat them, but they're not ready. If you like ripe mangoes, they're actually not ready yet. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandy. I hope no can of worms, but that guy you were talking about, is he Kimanian? Because somebody telling me that he got a surname Conley, but he's not a Kimanian.
Oh, I don't know.
Somebody saw it on your thing yesterday, and they called me and asked me if I know him, and I say no.
So he's somewhere Honduras or what?
I don't know, but they say that he got, and they say, like I say, I don't know. This was told to me yesterday. And I said, well, I don't really know who he is. I never saw him before. And they said, well, he got a surname Conley, but he's not a Kimanian. Maybe he's a paper holder or whatever. I don't know, because if he got business, I say, don't quote me, because when you hear me say, I know it, I ain't going to tell a lie.
Well, I would have to ask an East Ender, because only them know each other like that, child. But let me find out.
I'm saying, but then there's surname from other places, and that's what somebody told me. That he not Kimanian. So don't disgrace Kimanian. And I say, well, I don't know. I said,
okay, let me find out. Okay, we got an answer already. All right, thank you, Michelle. I appreciate it.
I was told.
Yeah, keep listening. Apparently, he's a half breed. Don't get insulted, Caymanians. Now, y'all know what a half breed is: half Caymanian, half something else. So he's not a full Caymanian. His father is Caymanian. Well, that's Caymanian enough. Where he get the Conley from, and his mama is from Nicaragua. There you go. Yeah. So somebody else confirmed his mother. Leon's mother is Nicaraguan. His father's from East End. But 2 really good people, but he just puts his hat higher than he can reach. Oh, he one of them. He is a born Caymanian. He went to school here. Yeah, his dad is Caymanian. Well, you know, this gets a lot of us in trouble. When you put your hat too high, you're getting trouble with money. He's not a Caymanian. He is family to the guy that runs Pirate Cove Bar. Well, if his dad is Caymanian, then he Caymanian? That's good enough for me. And if he was born here, he's Caymanian. That's like saying Gigi's not a Caymanian. Of course she's a Caymanian. Her mama Caymanian. Good enough for me. That's over 300,000 Jamaican dollars. That sounds like a lot of money. Oh my gosh. Okay, only frozen mangoes, he said, C. Banks. C. Banks is looking for Namduk or long local mangoes. If anybody has any, please reach out. He's a born Caymanian, says Sophia. That's good enough for me. We need an interview for Michelle. I just love to hear her. Aw, my sweet. Irvin says, yes, he's Caymanian. Z. Dane says, why question that? He has to be Caymanian one way or the other. People like to know. I don't know. Zane says, name doesn't change the price of rice. Yeah, people like to know. He is very disrespectful too. Be careful of him. Oh, honey child. He's married to Honduran, so he has to keep up to date. Really? Poor thing. I mean, she making him put his hat high too. Wow. Mm-mm. Morning, Sandy. Leon's mom, I think, is from Nicaragua. His sister used to work CIBC, but not sure where she is now. His sister is Laura Connolly. I don't know her. I don't think. Oh, he has to keep the wife up to date. What a mess. Anyway, sounds like he's Caymanian to me. People don't want to believe that we have our own people who are out there doing the most ill behavior and scamming people and the whole works. And I can tell you that there are tons of them. And it's unfortunate because it does pain me to talk about my own people, but they don't get any passes just because they're Caymanian. So sorry for them. Edwin says, wouldn't it be interesting if government started live stream channel of court cases and charge a subscription fee or pay-per-view? Could be another source of revenue. Edwin, they should do it for free because in fact, all cases are open. Not all. Let me back up now. Let me correct myself. Most cases, 97% of cases are open to the public. So you can go there and sit in person. So why not take the next logical step, just like they do in the United States of America? It's so interesting to see court cases every day, live on YouTube channels and live on court TV. And, you know, you can go there and see this stuff. Oh, before we leave, yes, somebody just tickled. Let's talk about some political sauce. I heard this too. I haven't fact checked it yet, but I did hear this. Okay. So it's interesting that someone just sent this to me. Hold on. And I'm going to ask Mr. Joey if it's true. Someone just said, I heard that John resigned from the PPM. He got upset about something. I did hear that. I did hear that yesterday, that John had resigned. I also heard that Kenneth Bryan was going to be not far behind. And so, yes, you know. So there you go. And I also heard that some of them are crying now that they're not government ministers. Wow. Boo hoo hoo. Let me request information. They said Judy Sana sure soon switch too. All right. Any truth to the rumors that John, Kenneth, and Judy Sana. Oh, let me put her correct name, Juliana, have resigned from the PPM. Well, I told you that there was a rumor afoot even before the election that if I changed my computer to UK spelling, so now it's always fixing my words for me, that if they had taken the government, that Joey's head was on the chopping block because they wanted power. Now, I'm not going to tell you who they are, but you probably can figure it out. And so they were going to, for the talent show, my child is, oh my goodness, Gigi says she wants to do a talent show. I don't know. She said she wants to dance. Lord have mercy. I think she said she's dancing. Child, she just is like, Mom, sign me up for the talent show. Please list the names and grades of the other children. I don't know. She said she wants to do a dance with a friend. Does that count? Clearly, I need to ask more information. Okay. Phone number. This is a talent show form. I need to ask her what she really is doing. All right. We'll have to inquire. Name of person picking up. Okay. All right. Is music needed? I don't know. I guess if you're dancing. Child. I just want to submit it because she keeps annoying me. Mom, have you submitted my township? Oh, parents. Oh, all right, let's move on. So, yes, so I heard that Joey's neck was going to be on the chopping block anyway, because they were going to get rid of him as leader of the progressives and, put in their own heads. So Joey might thank me later, and thank the good Lord later, because it's probably a good thing that he didn't get in. Because then it would have been pure fighting and getting rid of Joey and all kind of stuff. Justice will be served, says Laughing Out Loud. Stealing from others to keep someone up to date. You can imagine. No, sir. Voyager says, I hope this new government does not take them on their side. No. I don't think Andre is that stupid. I mean, I know Andre is not that stupid. They learned their mistake from last time. Sit your behind on the back bench and cry together. We'll get you some mangoes to help ease your pain a little bit. Romeo says, what you tell me? Apparently John was crying. Yes, honey child. Apparently John was crying, child. What a hot mess. That's why he never clapped. By the way, just really quickly before I start the video, yesterday someone sent me a picture of John shaking the governor's hand, and he was doing that weird thing with his tongue again, where he does this. Well, can somebody tell me what that's about? Does he have some kind of nervous tic that's like a medical condition or something else? Remember he had done it before and it's so weird, and we caught it on video one time. He went and he was like, it's like a lizard. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen, because I've never seen him do it any other time except when he's in Parliament and doing something with the governors. Is it some secret sign of something? Is he in some brotherhood? It's just bizarre. If anybody knows what that's about, let me know. But somebody sent me a picture yesterday and I was like, he did it again? I almost thought the photo was doctored, because I'm like, there's no way. Because he did it with Governor Roper too. Weird. Anyway, sit back. 644 people over here. More people on Instagram. Sit back, watch this amazing video. Marshall says, I wonder if John will be allergic to the back bench. Just wondering. Joseph said, no surprise. Yes, well, he's allergic to work, that's for sure. Yes, and happy Mother's Day. Thank you, Miss Alita. Happy Mother's Day to all of you moms. You guys are the glue that keeps your families together, your communities together. And thank you so much for the amazing work that you do with our children. And if you're not the best mom, pull up yourself and do better, okay? Diamond Eyes, reach out to me, and you guys sit back and enjoy this. Learn and what do we call them? Learn and whatever segments. Oh God, I can't remember now. Oh gosh, hold on. Learn and I think I have a little video for this now. Hold on. Learn, sip and learn. See it here, sip and learn segment. This one is on hazard management and what it is that they do over there. Beautiful.
Okay, my name is Danny Coleman. I'm the Director of Hazard Management Cayman Islands. I've been at Hazard Management for about 7, 8 years now, and my background beforehand was mainly Red Cross.
Good afternoon. My name is Leslie Lennox Vernon. I'm the Manager of Telecommunications and Logistics here at Hazard Management Cayman Islands. Prior to being here, I was working in public safety communications at 911 for approximately 20 years. I've been here since 2018, and some of the responsibilities I have are warehousing, logistics, and telecommunications such as radios, and just ensuring that there's communications among the NEOC members and the wider teams that we do have. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Mark Codlin from Hazard Management. I'm the Acting Deputy Director, but my substantive post is as a mitigation specialist. My core focus really revolves around risk reduction initiatives. A lot of GIS mapping, which is just geospatial information system. One of the key things we're trying to do is ensure that our public is safe and working together with our different partners. Thank you.
All right, folks, so we're here with the hazard management team and super excited because we're getting a little bit of a behind the scene exclusive into their operations. Now we see exactly where they're hiding out in the government building and where they're located. And I must say that there's a lot of moving parts to what they're doing, the things that they're watching. And so we'll get to see some of that and talk about also some things that they've been working on behind the scenes so that, you know, I think a lot of us don't really know, like, what does hazard management do if there isn't an earthquake or there isn't a storm? Trust me, they're keeping busy. And so today we're going to get this additional insight. So we've met the team members already. And of course, Daniel Coleman is heading up the team here. And they've got a lot going on. So where I would like to start, because of course, fresh in our minds when it comes to hazard management, is the most recent earthquake that we've had. So let's talk about that incident. And then of course, we can talk about earthquakes generally, and then what hazard management is doing to prepare from because every experience is a learning experience. I'm sure there's no two earthquakes or no two storms that are ever the same. So let's talk about this last one. You know, it kind of seemed like it came out of nowhere, but like I tell people, the earth is always shaking and moving, and so you've got to be prepared. And we constantly have these smaller tremors. This one was a little bit different. So what do we know about that one?
So I think the last earthquake we had, well, of any substance,
Yes.
was the 8th of February. As you mentioned, we've had a couple of shakes ever since. We tend not to do a full-scale call out to the National Emergency Notification System when we have the smaller ones. Obviously, we don't want to desensitize the public. And I think that's really, really important. We'll obviously put things on our social media to say that we're aware of it.
Yes.
But at the same time, we don't want to constantly sending out loud alerts because, again, the risk is not there. So the earthquake we had on the 8th, again, originally came in as magnitude 8, and then it was downgraded to a 7.6 by USGS. Just to sort of say, you know, and earthquakes, of course, don't happen usually during work hours when we're all sitting here and we're all at our desks and we have the alert systems going off. But that one obviously was after hours. I think it was a Saturday. Saturday afternoon. But we do have a duty officer on call during the day, and of course the baton gets passed over to 911 after hours. And we work very, very closely with our partners at 911 because again, they're obviously at the screens all day, every day. With the earthquake on the 8th of February, I think that came in about 6:23 was the original earthquake. I guess one of the things just to bear in mind is that when you don't feel an earthquake, the alert mechanism is slightly different. So whilst in 2020 when we were all sitting in the office and
everybody
it was very
felt
strong,
that, yes.
This one was obviously very different in that, you know, some people did feel it, but those reports came in slowly to 911, and then of course we're getting the notification. We do have apps downloaded on our own phones here at Hazard Management. They're not the official source, so we have to wait for the USGS source to confirm that there is an earthquake.
Okay.
And it's just the way, unfortunately, is the way it is. It often takes a bit of time.
So that explains why sometimes there's a delay for what you guys are posting. Because when I get it, I'm like, once that website says it's happened, I'm going to run with that. But you have to wait for the correct protocol.
Official source, we have to wait for the actual USGS to say it. And the same with Pacific Tsunami Warning Center. So what happens, they get the alert, and then they have to analyze it and make sure the scientists in the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center are concerned about a tsunami threat. And again, that takes a bit of time to sort of analyze it and get to all of us. In regards to USGS, so what happens when we have the app, the unofficial source, that will trigger us, hazard management staff, to actually log on to the USGS website. That, I think, took it was about a 10-minute gap from the unofficial source to the official USGS source, something around that time. And then, of course, the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center alert comes through by email. So we don't get alerts. We do have a call that will come eventually from Pacific Tsunami Warning Center, but in that kind of scenario, in the 8th of February, obviously they've got 2 staff members there calling all the region, trying to get everyone notified. So, you know, those calls aren't necessarily the most timely. So we kind of have to work with what we've got. And at the end of the day, I think there's always ways we have to learn from our experience. And this does, you know, we're obviously always looking out for the public feedback on that, and I think we've got some really good feedback on that, saying how we can improve our services. And again, we're always, the whole point of that being transparent and accountable and making sure that we always constantly strive to be better than we are. Obviously, there are tricky nature of, after hours earthquakes are slightly different, as I mentioned, especially when you don't feel them.
Right.
So we often do try and make sure that we're preparing the public in advance. So if you do feel an earthquake and it's long and strong,
Yes.
you don't wait around for official notification. You need to know how to respond to it. And again, I know we'll talk more about what that looks like in a bit.
What accounts for why some people feel it and why others don't? Do you have any idea?
Because it's the nature. I mean, I was in a vehicle with big tires. I usually feel earthquakes. I often get a bit of a weird sense beforehand, and weeks beforehand. There's a lot of friction in the
atmosphere or something,
but with this one, I didn't feel it, and it was funny enough because I think it was you called me, and then I said, well, you better, I'm just going to a wedding. Call me back. It was really urgent, and of course, it's urgent. Okay, grand. Okay, we can do this. But as I mentioned, emergencies don't often happen in those lovely clean hours from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at night. It's often after hours. And again, with this, we're lucky because again, we're awake at least. There's earthquakes and tsunamis in the night that you don't feel. Obviously the 911 will take over, but the alert structure takes a number of us to respond.
Yeah. It's interesting because I literally had people like 2 doors down. They're like, oh, I felt it. I'm like, I'm sitting here watching TV, and it was only that my phone started pinging a lot that I kind of knew that something.
We actually had a felt report where there were brothers in a room. One felt it, and the one didn't feel it at all. So it was unique, like in a sense of. I guess people who are more grounded.
Maybe bigger feet. I don't know. It's a really, because actually that's so funny, but animals feel tremors much more than humans do.
Absolutely.
I know in the tsunami in Thailand, I went there after tsunami 20 years ago, and again, elephants, they have such big feet pads, they felt all the tremors and they moved very quickly, and very few animals died in that tsunami compared to people. It's interesting, but I'd like to know more about the science about that. But
very interesting. All right, so that's good to explain how it actually works. The sort of stages of it, and then what you have to do before you're able to actually post anything. Now, what lessons would you say that you learned from this particular go round?
I think the key lessons again. I mean, I know we'll talk a bit about our app. So we have different modes of communications, and again, it looks very different when it's out of hours because we're relying on different stakeholders, and we're not next. I mean, I had during that earthquake in February, my husband was on the USGS providing that to me, and we're all outside and just trying to get the information from any source possible. So it's very different after hours. But again, we have to rely on to be able to be as effective as possible. So I think the lessons we learned from this one, some of the technical issues we experienced with the app. We've learned, and they were very small issues that actually the more testing we do, we can keep the app live per se, and I think you'll talk more about that. As far as partners go, I mean, I don't know, as far as the main lessons learned.
I think it was creating a culture of readiness.
Yeah, that's true.
I think
the preparedness
if we had felt that earthquake, it would be a different story. I think one of the things we are trying to establish is ensuring from a personal standpoint, individuals understand when there's an earthquake, what do you do?
Right.
There's a gentleman who called us, I think he's on South Sound, was telling me he got the alert and then he was on the first floor and he moved to the top floor. So he automatically kicked in terms of what to do. So I think from us is really creating that culture of readiness, as my colleague would speak to that. I think that's very critical.
Yeah.
I also
on a personal level.
Yeah, I also think we're constantly looking for different ways of alerting the public.
Yes.
Now we have the radio interrupt, we have the phase 2, which is the app. Phase 3, we just need to keep pushing that further, and that's a cellular broadcast. And again, that will make the notification to any member in the public much easier. People on the cruise ships can hear it. Again, it's an automatic thing. And I think that's, if anything, one of the big lessons for me is that we need to be pushing that much quicker.
And that's the one where everybody gets an alert on their phone.
No matter if you're a subscriber or not.
I experienced that. Yeah, I experienced that when I was in Tampa in August, and I was just sitting there having breakfast, and all of a sudden, all phones went off. I'm like, what's going on?
What's going on?
Yeah, so it was just a test, but
I think with the phase 2, which is the app, again, we use it for a number of different things. We don't want to desensitize the public, but I think we use it for a hurricane, for example, and that might be a low tone. With the earthquake, we had it as a high tone, and again, there were a couple of technical issues, but I think. making sure that we are constantly striving to get those loud alerts, because if you're in the middle of your dinner,
Yeah,
or
you're not
fast
gonna
asleep,
look at it. Yeah.
you need something very loud to wake you up and get you out of bed or get you
Right.
moving.
And so a lot of people didn't get the alerts, although that they had the app. So tell us a little bit about what failed this last time that you're aware of.
Yeah, so based on the feedback we're getting, so we had, initially when we set the first alert, we had roughly, I think, 9,200 persons on the system. After the first alert went out, we saw an uptick of like 400 persons who registered on the flag there and then. So one of the challenges we encounter is, of course, the registration process, which is that persons tend to go straight to the app versus going to the website first to register. So what we are trying to address with that, we have a long list of FAQs. And the second one that we have encountered is persons who would have had the app on their phones, been on iOS or Android, the updates to their phone. So we're ensuring that a new marketing campaign will address the issue of ensuring that you go into the app just to check to see that there are updates and your app is functional.
Okay.
So on the website, I'll speak to that more, but we have revamped the website just to add a bit more tips and bits, but more so if you encounter this error, especially there's one that speaks to contact your admin, is really the registration piece. Ensure you do frequently check on your app to see a refresh process.
I think just to remind it again, the app was kind of a stopgap a couple of years ago, because we were obviously wanting the Cider broadcast for a while. And I think that is definitely the golden Mercedes-Benz to whatever car the best cars are, as far as alerts go. We did a lot of work over the years with Ofreg. I know they had a white paper of different ideas as to what would be good methods. Things like sirens, we're not opposed to sirens, albeit in small, very volatile, vulnerable areas. For example, areas when you've got a lot of hazards around, fuel sites. But they're really tricky in that they're very hard to maintain. The salt kills them very, very quickly. They're very expensive when it comes to maintenance. And also, they often get wiped away in a hurricane with storm force winds. So it's one of those things we have to figure out what's the best use of funds to the most effective audience. And I think the Cider broadcast is that the phase 2, the app that we're talking about, SMS, email, but it's, again, that was a sponsorship by the FCDO, and it really is a stopgap. It's not one. I don't think it was ever the intention to be the be all and end all. We just have to keep striving to find new methods of getting the comms out there for all types of users. Everyone's different about what kind of method. Be it, if there's any accessibility issues that we need to think about. So we really need to keep striving to find the latest technology to ensure that as many people as possible is getting the word. And I think phase 3, the Cider broadcast, is definitely going to be a really big project for us that we need to move forward.
And of course, with the app, if you haven't used it in a while, I'll admit I forgot about it. It's like it's, I even forgot that it was there. I was like, oh yeah, they have an app.
And then we also learned that with Apple, they're forcing apps
unused apps.
So through that we've come up with different plans internally of just how we can test the app. One with also just building our culture of readiness with the community, but then also internally with our partners at 911, so that we're up to date with everything on a monthly basis.
That's very good.
It's really to push, and of course, like Carib Wave, that's coming up in March, is an initiative for us to test the system as well.
This is the regional tsunami
exercise. Get the feedback from users. So that's one of the plans we're doing. So persons can provide their feedback.
So we'll talk about that event just here in a second. So when we hear the tsunami warning comes in, number one, how likely is it that we would ever get a substantial tsunami?
We've done a lot of work with NOAA and modelling work, and we're still trying to crunch those numbers and so forth. The probability is low, but again, we have to make sure it's still a reality. And I think one of the things we've always got to prioritise is what is the greatest risk in the Cayman Islands. The tsunami, because the probability is low, but the risk is very high. We still need to make sure we're preparing for what that looks like, and making sure everyone's aware. I think, I know it's very cheesy, but knowledge is very much power.
Absolutely.
And I think the more we can train people to respond without having to wait for an alert, especially if they feel it. Obviously, they don't feel it; it's very different. But if they feel something, there's two hazards there. The earthquake obviously is the first one that you're going to feel, and we, obviously really encourage everyone to understand. Drop cover and hold your head. And if you're in bed, stay in bed, put a pillow over your head. If you're in a car, keep your seatbelt on, put your hazard lights on. There's so many ways you can protect yourself. Obviously, the head being the most fragile part of it. We do have a really good hazard booklet that we'll share with you as to all hazards. And of course, that's one of them. But in Cayman, because we are obviously 7 foot on average above sea level, you have the earthquake, but you also have the potential for tsunami. So, we don't encourage anyone to leave the building if they can avoid, if they have second stories or second or third, or go up, just go up, because again, we don't want people getting in their cars, because of course it causes massive road traffic issues. First responders can't get through. More importantly, if we did have a tsunami wave, chances are you'd be stuck in your car. I think there's a lot of work we've done over the last 4 years since the 2020 earthquake, whereby we saw a heck of a lot of people leaving the buildings, and of course then we're trying to get everyone back in the buildings. The building codes in Cayman are very, very good compared to a lot of the other places in the world, and a lot of other places in the world that don't have a tsunami threat potential, like Cayman does, would respond differently. So we have a lot of people coming from overseas who are used to responding to earthquakes in LA, for example, or where else in the world. But Cayman is very different, and we have to make sure everyone's, one, aware of the building codes, and two, and more importantly, aware how to respond, knowing that if you feel an earthquake, a very strong earthquake, you just get upstairs. You cannot, unless you're on the coast, and of course, if you're on the coast, just try and get further in and up. Appreciate, one of them came around and sort of says,
what do you do? I know, depending on how big, I guess, the tsunami is.
And I think at the end of the day, the risk is low. The chances of other hazards happening are much greater than this. But we always strongly recommend people to, your two places that you frequent most is that your work and your home. Look at those buildings, and what would you do if a tsunami alert came through on your phone now? We've done a lot of work with the schools over the last 4 years to make sure that actually all the specific schools have a plan for that school itself. Because of course schools on Walker's Road are going to be very different from one-story schools on the coast. So we have to make sure that they're all ready, and they share through the work we've done with the Ministry of Education and Department of Education. All the plans now come to us, we review the plans, we do drills with the schools, and we always encourage the parents to reach out to the schools to make sure that they know, as parents, that they are very comfortable that their schools have a plan for kids, and they don't have to get in their cars and go to find a job. It's just not safe until the tsunami all clear is given. And just very quickly to mention that we rely on the International Pacific Tsunami Warning Center and USGS to give the all clear. Now that's for the whole the regional basin, right? So, even the other day on the 8th of February, that whilst we were expecting a wave to pass at, I think it was 6:58, so I think we had about 30-minute notice. So just to clarify what happens with the all clear, now again, as I mentioned, we get the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center advisories that come through to our email. And what happens then, we'll obviously waiting for the all clear. We haven't got the scientists on island or the equipment to make that assessment. So we have to wait for the all clear from the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center. So you'll see regional partners who get the US alerts, which are different from the international ones or the regional ones. And they can give the all clear before the Cayman Islands. We always wait as a matter of safety, even if it's a matter of 2 hours longer than people expect. We have to wait for those scientists to say the all clear has been given for the region. By all means, go back with your business. We would never want to do it before that, and I think it's just much safer. I think we always err on the side of caution anyway, and I think for someone to stay put for another 2 hours, in the grand scheme of things,
it's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal. So that's why the all clear will often come later than the public might want it. We've had scenarios even inside the buildings like, when's the all clear? Well, we're going to wait because we're not the scientists. We're very much here to pass on the information and make sure that everyone is safe, and that's what we're here to do.
Let's talk a little bit about the safety of our tourists, because obviously the demographics of Cayman can be very varied. And during this last earthquake, I had people sending me footage. They went online and looked at the webcams of the hotel properties, and they're like, oh, these people are just walking on the beach, hanging out, and there's a tsunami warning. Is there anything that you guys have thought about on how to alert property managers in particular, because we have a lot of coastline properties, to prepare them that, at the very minimum, get upstairs in the rooms, you shouldn't be walking on the beach side?
I think it's a great question. So part of our National Emergency Operations Structure, we have Department of Tourism embedded in that. And again, even with the February 8th earthquake, we were working with them to get, Marriott was a great example. Marriott was talking about getting the people up on the second floor. So they are very much embedded in the structure. I think we need to do more with them. And I think, especially like the not necessarily the hotels,
The
where,
Airbnbs,
the
okay.
Airbnbs, thank you. So modern. So the Airbnbs, when you
And
don't have that
restaurants.
information, and
Yes.
restaurants and so forth. And I think, again, it's about sensitization of the public. We still get all the time, there's no possibility of a tsunami from people who don't know the science. But again, the
Right.
science is there to say otherwise. And again, NOAA
Right.
has that report saying Cayman there is potential, albeit we have slip slide as opposed to the transvergent plates. You know, we just need to know we can respond to any eventuality, and we'd rather people understand what to do than, you know, even if they don't believe it's a possibility,
Right.
then at least they can respond if it
To
does
be
happen.
prepared. Yeah.
Sorry, do you want to talk about mapping as well from that level?
No, I was going to add to that. From example, you have property owners who would
Yes.
probably have sign up for the email or the app as well. They get notifications and they would be in contact with their property manager. So we have seen a few property managers ensure that they have the notification they can
Yes.
receive to also notify their guests as well as persons who are staying. So we'll have seen a couple of case studies from that as well. Can come as far as Portugal, checking his property and so forth. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we do have that.
Yeah. Communication is key.
It is key.
Yeah,
It is key.
that's really what it comes down to.
It is
is
key.
making
It is
sure
key.
people are
It is
getting the information in as timely manner as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, you've got to have this personal accountability, have your own plan for you and your family, and
Correct.
you know,
Correct.
know
Correct.
exactly
Correct.
how to respond. Yeah, I mean, we're not particularly close to the water, but then I feel like nowhere in Cayman is really that far,
Far away from the
depending
water,
on
yeah.
how big of a wave we're talking about. So, you know, if you've got attic space, is it a good idea to go up in the attics? You know, that's one of the things that we've thought about because we only have a single-story home.
Single
right?
story. Okay.
So,
Yes.
yeah. Okay. Well, let's talk about the upcoming event that you've got coming up is it later on in March? Yeah.
Yeah. Ali, want to touch on that one? That's the opening.
Yeah, she's very excited to
exciting, yeah.
give us some information on that.
So, Caribbean Wave is a annual regional exercise that is organized by Tsunami.org. And there are two scenarios this year. One is based off of Portugal, and one is based off of a Jamaica scenario. We have opted, of course, for the Jamaica scenario just because it's very real life for us. And the alert is expected to come around 10 a.m. that morning on the 20th of March. We currently have 7,000 persons signed up, 26 schools, 5 of those are preschools. So all of our government schools are participating along with some of the private schools. So we'll be working with Department of Education Services to review the plans for the schools for what is done when an earthquake alert takes place and then a tsunami. And then we'll also have some observers at some of the schools that give permission, just to, you know, see what takes place, give feedback and respond and everything.
So when you say that they've signed up, tell us how this exercise works. Like what is it that they're going to do?
So they would log on to Tsunami.org, the website, and they would sign up there. It is responsible for them to also contact HMCI to let us know that they've signed up.
Okay.
What will take place that day is that we'll be partnering with DPSC or 911 to send out an alert via NENS, just to say the earthquake has happened, so to speak.
Okay.
There will be a test message.
Yes, that is.
Just to
Because
say
I'm sure
this is a
CMR will get
test.
messages.
Yes.
Did I miss an earthquake?
This is a test. But for those who are participating in the Caribbean Wave exercise, that this is their alert to activate themselves. It will go as planned, hopefully with, you know, like no main issues, and there will be continued messages throughout to say, okay, we are under tsunami threat. This is the expected time. We have the all clear for the tsunami. So everything that we experienced on February 8th will be then simulated on the 20th of March. So
And are those
similar.
7,000 people just in Cayman, or is that like a regional?
Just in Cayman that we have
wow.
signed up, yeah.
I think one
quite
of the
a-
things, again, I mean, we saw last year a really good uptake from the schools on this. It's a very easy thing for everyone to get involved in. I think one of the things with regards to schools, again, how important it is that we're reviewing the plans is to make sure that what they respond, how they respond, is actually in line with best practice. What we wouldn't want to see, obviously we can't be at all the different 20 plus schools, but we discuss with them how they're going to respond and what they're going to do so that they're practicing the right thing. I think one of our concerns has always been, you know, everyone evacuating the building, and all of a sudden, hold on a second, that's not what you're supposed to do, and then it ingrains in the
Right.
children's memories that that's what you should do, and of course it's not. So I think
Yeah.
a lot of that work goes into pre-planning
Yeah.
to make
so
sure
you give them guidance beforehand.
exactly. And
Yeah.
again, we go through all their plans to make sure their plans are fit for purpose. And but we strongly encourage. I think we can put all those details on our website as to how to join in, because anyone in the Cayman Islands can join in. And I think Cayman's always been really good over the last couple of years as to participation in the Carib Wave. So I think we'd love to see more and more people involved, especially because tensions are quite high right now in regards to this. And I think the more people get involved, the more can understand what the process is.
And does that mean then the rest of the region is doing it all at the same time? So it's a region-wide exercise. Yeah. So back in 2020, January 19th, 20th?
28th?
Yeah, 28th, yeah. 28th.
It was 28th. We had a pretty massive earthquake, I would say. Was it 7.0 or 7.2?
7.6 or 7.7 originally planned.
7.7 originally.
Again, so going back to those numbers, we saw it even in February, the 8 start, and then it comes down to 7.6, and that's again all the scientists evaluated. So I think in 7.7, but just to bear in mind that felt feeling. So because of the depth and the distance from Cayman, the actual felt feeling for us in the Cayman Islands was a 5.1.
Yes.
So while we all can say we've been through a 7 point whatever earthquake, it was the felt report. What the damage to the Cayman Islands wasn't a 7.7 average magnitude, and that's a significant difference when you're talking about the impact. The building codes in Cayman are great compared to a lot of other areas, regional partners, but at the same time, building codes only go a certain way when you've got a substantial earthquake, and again, most of the response is knowledge. How to respond is so important in that.
Now that one was felt all the way as far as Miami.
Yeah, correct.
So that was
That was a big one.
Yeah, pretty widely felt. And when you talked about the potential of traffic jams, that's exactly what happened. I was with a client on Walker's Road, and I just said to them, I've got to set up shop right here and start reporting on this. And we went live, so we had very few people that could get on the network. I was just fortunate enough to get in, and I was like, I'm not letting go of my connection once I was on. But parents literally stuck in traffic. I'm like, where are you guys going?
It's so dangerous. And again, that's why we really, really want people to understand the worst thing you can do is get in traffic and try and
create that gridlock.
Because then we also saw a lot of sinkholes with that.
Yeah.
Right.
So then that's another hazard.
Yes, absolutely. And then it occurred to me that we hadn't really had an earthquake in probably 15 years, maybe at that point, that we could feel, because it was during Ivan. I think we had two that most people felt. And so right across from where I was in Walker's Road, there's like a tutorial center for kids, like high school kids and stuff. And they were, basically saying that I was watching those kids react to the earthquake, and it occurred to me that they've never felt this before. Some of them were crying.
Oh yeah.
They were really, really upset. The phones, they couldn't get through their moms or dads. They didn't know what to do. And so how do you prepare children? I think children are so...
They're so, honestly, what we've seen in the past, children, as long as you train them up and train the drills and walk through it in practice, they're the best advocates for us. As they go home, and the amount of parents I have and say, "Oh, Danny, I know you've been in the school. You guys have been in the school again today because my kids are adamant that we're going to do the drill at home with the parents." And I get this a lot, be it earthquake related or hurricane related, whatever. But at the same time, the kids are actually the best as far as their response goes. They don't have any airs and graces about jumping under the table, whereas the rest of us are like, we're almost second guessing as what we're feeling is actually a reality.
Yeah.
They just go with the flow, and that they are brilliant. I mean, children, we need more children around to show us adults how it's done.
Yeah. I remember at the time my daughter was still in preschool, and she was like, that day, when I picked her up, and they're like, oh, they were napping. They're fine. And I said, do you remember anything happening today? She's like, not really. But then they start to hear adults talking about it. So then they take on, so you've got to, it kind of reminded me of like COVID as well. Like when she saw people in masks, she was like taken aback, and it was kind of scary at first. And then once you talk them through it, like it's nothing to be afraid of. We're just wearing masks to protect ourselves. So kids will absorb what's happening in their environment.
They do.
And I think if parents have a plan, they're calm, cool and collected, the kids will just fall in line with that as well.
I think that's a great point, Sandy. At the end of the day, when you do any plan, we always strongly encourage all the public to do plans for every eventuality, be it a fire, a pandemic, earthquake, whatever it is.
Right.
if you include the kids in the planning process, it's a lot less terrifying for the kids. And we've worked with psychologists over this. It's not just our own ideas. So it's really important to hurricane planning. They during an activation of a hurricane or an impending hurricane, all they're seeing is mum and dad getting stressed or and panicking, and there's a lot of action going on in the supermarkets, and there's a lot of fear and anxiety. I think as long as kids are involved in the process from the get-go, from the start, you're much better off. It's so much safer for the kids, and they come along with the journey, and they know their grab-and-go bags, and they have all these things, so they're empowered actually to be part of the solution, not add to the actual stress of it all. And have their own, if they've got grab-and-go bags, have their own food supplies, and those kind of things, their books and toys or whatever it looks like. But the pre-planning of that is really important no matter what the hazard is.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, so 2025 is underway. We're kind of getting to the bit of, I guess, closer to the end of the last quarter of it now. What have you got planned for this year? Like, what are some of the major projects that you're working on?
Yeah, that's a very good question right there. I think probably could start off with some of the key initiatives that we're focusing on. One of the ones we're looking at mainly is looking at the whole idea of early warning systems. So we mentioned the idea of what is significant. You saw that from last year as well. A lot of flooding that took place from inclement weather conditions. So we had the northwest that started out. Then we had those rainfall in June that caused significant flooding. So we're working on our flood sensor project. We're trying to work with several communities on that. We're trying to have those installed so we can have real-time information coming in so we could inform the public. Another key initiative that we're looking at, and I know Danny will have said it earlier, looking at the whole Tsunami Ready community initiative. So working with communities and ensuring that they're tsunami ready, but having a much more closer contact on a community level, working with them. Another key initiative, of course, what we're trying to establish. We know we speak of the whole idea from a response side in terms of how we can improve. Again, work with our different first responders. Again, all the continuous training. Because one of the key things we do, although we have those plans, we need to exercise, so we know how to improve, and hence why we're able to respond accordingly, understanding the procedures. Because when you kick into that drive of response mode, you'll find that a lot of the stuff you can't take up that manual and read it page by page. It has to become very natural, embedded in. Yeah, that's right here for us to execute. So again, other exercises will be taking place throughout the year to ensure that we cover. Another key initiative again is working with the communities with the certs. We're looking again at our recruitment drive. We were at the Agriculture Show recently, which we signed up some more persons to be a part of CERS, which is our Community Emergency Response Team. And again, all that is very key. And of course, our sister islands as well, very importantly, working on ensuring that right across the 3 islands, we have building the resilience to ensure that when it comes to any form of disaster, we're ready to respond accordingly. Anyone wants to add anything?
IoT flood sensors.
I mentioned that.
Okay, so I guess one thing just to add as well is the incident command protocols. So over the years, so we're always trying to learn from our experiences, our exercises and so forth. We've done a lot of streamlining our national structure. So we've got the executive at the top, which is co-chaired by the Premier and Governor, and it's got cabinet members in, it's got Commissioner of Police, myself, regiment commanding officer, and of course, depending on the hazard itself, the issue that we're dealing with, would have a lead agency. If it's a migration issue, for example, we'd have CBC. If it's a natural disaster, obviously we'd be leading with weather, perhaps. So that is the executive. We have strategic coordination, which is the policy kind of side of things. Then we have the National Emergency Operations Centre, which is more the operational, tactical side of things. So we're constantly trying to streamline that. Now, obviously, for any activation, we wouldn't necessarily activate the entire structure. The information has to flow between the levels, but it might be certain parts. So under the Emergency Operations Centre side, we have 19 support teams. So anything from business continuity to emergency response to mass fatalities to support services, resource support, infrastructure. There's so many different specialties in that. And again, that is across private and public sector. So we would be pulling in various bodies that we need for the specific. It's very flexible, dynamic, a lot of pivoting. Comms is obviously always going to be a big part of that, because no matter what the issue is, comms is a fundamental part of that response. But you may not always need infrastructure if it's not that relevant at the time, or you may not need business continuity because we're dealing with something else. So even things like economic continuity, that's led by the Chamber of Commerce, and we try and always assess what every hazard is, the financial implications on the island. So the damage economic assessment teams. Might be a small storm, but at the same time that has a financial implication to the end. So that streamlining that whole process, we worked again in COVID. I think we were activated for 104 days, and we're constantly learning as to what worked well, what didn't work well. Let's change things that didn't and make sure that we're constantly striving towards a sort of more best practice for that. So I think that's probably one of the bigger things. And we have training. We did the Event Horizon exercise already in January. And we had 144 stakeholders from overseas on that, from Jamaican Defence Force and from Bahamas Defence Force, as well as Turks and Caicos Regiment. So we did quite a lot of exercising on that, the whole 10 days of training on that. It was quite a big, Hazard Management was hosting, with obviously the regiment and other counterpart stakeholders and Coast Guard. We also did a mass rescue operation workshop 2 or 3 weeks ago, I guess it was, 2 days, and that was a cruise ship incident. So that's basically a cruise ship fire. We know fine well that cruise ship's fire is a possibility, and you're talking about your probability that potentially is more likely than, let's say, a large-scale tsunami.
Right.
So working with our counterparts in the cruise lines in Miami, and they were very much part of that training. It was a multi-agency training, but again, tabletop. What would happen if we had a big cruise ship here on fire? How would we evacuate? What kind of fire capabilities do we have to respond? So we're all hazard approach. So yes, we've been focused on earthquakes this year so far, and tsunamis, but also a lot of other different hazards that we have to face and get ready for the hurricane season as well. So lots of different things. I think one of the other things we didn't mention perhaps is the climate change work, and we're really trying to work on that side of things.
Right.
We do see it's changes, evidence very clearly that rapid intensification of storms happen. We're just seeing a lot out there. And just last week I was in Brussels on a climate change workshop, and again talking about what the impact is on small island states. And again, we are going to be suffering more than perhaps a big country who actually have a lot more of a carbon footprint than we do. But so we're all learning from each other, and again making sure that we are on the forefront of this. And I think the data-driven activities that we're doing, it's not pie in the sky ideas. It's we want to make sure that everything we do is evidence-based and data-driven. So a lot of the technology that we're developing through Mark's situational awareness and so forth is based on, we know what the threat is, we know how to respond to it, but we know what the likelihood is because again we've got the evidence. So that's kind of that's how we prioritize our main functions.
So those are all the technical initiatives.
Yes.
We also we also then have our human behavior initiatives, which is with the culture of readiness, and that's just us delivering better public education campaigns.
Yes, definitely.
Getting everyone, the vulnerable, our expat community, our residents, our working class, our kids, all developing those habits. In just being ready for any hazard. Because as we've seen from the beginning of the year, anything can happen at any time. So it's just, that's something that the entire team will be putting a lot of energy behind, with May being our month of preparedness as we get ready for a lovely hurricane season that we hope is nice and quiet. And then last year we would have introduced having a day of preparedness during September as it's the middle of the season. If you need to restock, let's restock. And as we go into the end of the season and then go into Cayman Thanksgiving. So it's just building and creating those habits and thought processes that it becomes second nature to us. As a kid, I remember growing up and just knowing, June, you get your corned beef, you get your canned goods. Some of us have forgotten those things. Some of us remember. So it's just reintroducing those tips and tricks that have kept us, ready throughout the years.
Very interesting. I saw in one of these social media groups, I Love Cayman, where there was a commenter who said, should I cancel my vacation plans because of all of the recent earthquakes? And I thought, really?
In the world we're living in right now, there's so many things going on. You just got to live, and you just got to be educated enough to know that how to prepare, how to respond, and then go anywhere in the world. I'm a massive believer that you don't stop your holiday for reasons.
Yeah, life doesn't stop.
Life doesn't stop. Life can't stop because we're going to get more and more hurricanes, and we're going to get potentially more and more emergencies in the future. And we can't be in the standstill. We have to always just know how to respond and then live your life.
Yeah, absolutely. So can we do a little sneak peek around the office and show people, some of the systems that you have and how they work and that sort of thing as well?
Awesome.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.